School. I'm your science teacher. We are learning chapter 8 motion. Now this is one of the most important part of our chapter called equations of motion using graphical method. Okay, as what I told you last time, there are three equations of motion, right? Let me write down it for you. And what we are going to do is we are going to derive those equation of motion. Okay, so what we are going to do is, see, so we have three equations of motion. V is equal to u plus at, s is equal to ut plus half at square, and 2as is equal to v square minus u square. These three equations we are going to derive it from a graphical method. Okay. In our earlier textbook, which was not NCERT, over there we have to derive both ways, algebraic also and graphical also. But here we just have to derive it graphically. So let me show you. So let's say we are drawing a graph. Okay, we are drawing a graph. Understand it very properly. So here we are drawing a graph of velocity versus time. Velocity versus time graph. Okay, and this is our object which is starting its motion from point A and it is moving uniformly and reaches to the point B. So basically, from where does our object starts? Our object starts from point A and reaches to point B. Now understand this situation, our object doesn't start from 0. So definitely here the situation arises that here the initial velocity is, here the initial velocity is not 0, right? Here, so here what is the velocity? Here the velocity is u, and as the time increases the velocity reaches to v. Okay, so what is the initial velocity? U, as what we always say, the initial velocity is u and the final velocity is v. Okay, so that is how an object travel from u to v. Now here, as the object is here, so here the time is 0 and here the time is t. So if an object has to reach from A to B, how much time does it take? It takes from 0 to t. How much time does it take? 0 to t. Here the time is 0. So when your object is at A, the time is 0, and when your object reaches B, the time is t. T equal to t, because we don't know, we are talking in a general sense, we are not talking here in the minutes and all. And here also the initial velocity, so at point A the velocity is u and at point B the velocity will become v. Okay, I hope you are getting what I am trying to say, right? See, look at here, as what they have mentioned, right, the in our textbook. Okay, now let's name it in a proper way. Okay, so this point we call it as O, this point we call it as O. Let me show you. Okay, this is O, anyways this is B, A, B. This point we call it as C. Okay, and here this point is D. Clear? And this one last point we name it as E. Okay, so I gave you all these points, just try to look at it properly. So this is E. Now at A point the object has initial velocity u and at B point the object has final velocity v. Okay, at O, so means when the object started its motion the time is 0, and when the object reaches at B the time is t. Now this is how you can represent, remember when you represent a point on a coordinate geometry, you have two coordinates, right? Likewise here also it has the same. So what we have to understand is, here if you see, what is your OA? Your OA equal to CD, and what is your OA? Your OA is U. right? So from O to A, what is the velocity u? Understand this thing very properly. Similarly, if you say from O to E, same is B to C, B to D, that is V. So I am talking about vertical line. So when you talk about vertical line, we talk about velocity. So O to A or C to D or D to C, the initial velocity is u, because they are parallel, they are same. Similarly, O to E and B to D, that is final velocity V. In the same manner, if you talk about vertical horizontal line, right? So O to D is same as A to C is same as B to E, that is equal to your time t, okay, fine. So I hope you are getting what I am trying to say, okay. So if you understand this small logic, then the whole thing you can easily get it. Please understand this very properly. O to A is the velocity, we are talking about a vertical line. O to E, similarly if you are talking about a horizontal line, it is time graph. So O to C is time, right? O to C is time, okay. Now let us derive the first equation. If you see, can I say BD is equal to BC plus CD? Yeah, we can write, right? BD is what? Is straight line. So B to D is BC plus CD, right? Now, okay, so BD is BC plus CD. Now what is BD? If you see properly here, what is your BD? Your BD value is V. So I am putting V here, okay. Now let me write down equal to sign. Now we don't have BC, so BC is as it is. Now what is your CD? Look at up, you have CD also, your CD is U, so I'll put U here. So can I write here that BC is equal to V minus U? Okay, BC is equal to, what do I get? I get V minus U, right? Still you didn't get your first equation, okay. What you get is only BC. What is your BC? BC is equal to V minus U. All this thing is properly written in your textbook. Let me show you there also, okay. See, have a look. So did they get the same thing? BD is equal to V minus U, okay. Now what is your change in velocity? Acceleration is what? What is acceleration? We learn what is the definition of acceleration. Acceleration is what? Change in velocity upon time taken, okay, time taken. Remember this thing, acceleration is what? Change in velocity upon time taken, right? So acceleration is what I said, change in velocity. Now acceleration we write down as A. Change in velocity, what is your change in velocity, right? What is your change in velocity? Your velocity changes at BC and your time is t, okay. What is your acceleration? Change in velocity upon time taken, okay. They have given, okay, so change in velocity upon time taken, okay. They have given the names in this way. They have given C at the bottom and D at the top, that's why they get this thing, okay. If you want, I can also change the same. If you want to sync the same with a textbook, here they have given D and here they have given C, okay. So that is the reason they get here as they get OC, AD and BE, okay. So OC, AD and BE, and we can also change this as just the name, okay. I just put D at the bottom and that at the top. That is the reason you can get. In order to make it in the same as textbook, I am going to change the name also. So here again I have changed to BC is equal to BD plus DC. Okay, so this is BD, so you get also BD here. Now the change in velocity I said is BD. Okay, and change in time, if you say just say change in time, so what is your change in time from O to C? What is your change in time? O to C, which we can change as BD upon OC as AD. Okay, now A, what is your BD? V minus U. What is your AD? Look here at the top. What is your AD? T. So I'll put ADS also T. So AT is equal to V minus U. So V is equal to U plus AT. See, you got the first equation of motion. Right? I'm not pushing so hard. Please understand this very properly. Let me reframe it one more time for you. What we are talking is an object is traveling from point A to point B. An object is traveling from point A to point B. The initial velocity of an object is U and the final velocity is V. If you plot it on a velocity versus time graph, definitely point B velocity represented by point E and point B time is represented by C, and as you know the O is at the origin. Then I just represent it in that way, so OA, CD, OEN. Then I just write BC is equal to BD plus CD because it is on the 3 points are in the same line. So as on you can write down in terms of that. So we get BD is equal to V minus U. Now we already know acceleration is what? Change in velocity upon time taken. So A is equal to BD upon AD. Right? Change in velocity means BD and change in time is AD. Okay, and A is equal to V minus U upon T, which, and finally we get V is equal to U plus AT. Okay, I am not taking everything at one at a time. This is only first equation of motion we have derived. Tomorrow we are going to derive 2 more equations of motion. Right, put all your effort, understand. If you don't understand this small thing, you will not able to understand the next 2 equations also. Okay, so I hope put all your effort, post me any queries if you have any. Right, till then, bye, take care, I'll see you on the next day.